Welcome to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins. The need for fire safety awareness and planning has never been greater. Through a new partnership, Nationwide, the country's leading protector of farms and ranches, is helping its agriculture customers take a proactive approach to fire defense with a new product to add to their fire prevention portfolio they recommend to their policyholders. Laramie Sandquist joins us. He's with Nationwide Agribusiness, their risk management leader. Laramie, always great to see you. Welcome back.
Thanks, Ty. Appreciate you having me again.
This is a huge issue on the farm. How prominent are fires in agriculture?
Yeah, I know we try to talk about this in October every year because that's National Fire Prevention Month, National Fire Prevention Week, but we know fire prevention is every day on the farm. As you know, over 20,000 fires happen every year on the farm, and most of those fires are preventable. And so we're trying to get not only education things out there and awareness pieces out there, but also what kind of tools and materials and resources can we help support the farmers, help support, in the field, on the piece of equipment, in the shop, wherever it happens to be that there's that fire potential. We want to make sure that people are prepared and have the materials to be able to put that fire out if it does happen.
This new partnership is with Enforcer One. Tell me about it.
Yeah, Enforcer One is a great company. They've developed a lot of cool materials. Mainly, they're a liquid fire extinguishing company that can put out those agricultural type fires. They're known in the motorsports industry. You'll see them in places like NASCAR. You'll see them in places like the drag racing and places like that. They've got a strong history of having these portable materials to get out there, and they come in various sizes. So a very, very cool offering that they have. And we've been working with them probably for the last 6 months, talking through the various offerings and things like that. And we're really excited for this partnership and offering our clients discounted offering for these different fire prevention materials that they have, and it's really cool that some of the things that they're doing out there.
So, what are the types of farm applications these products can be utilized for?
Yeah, so when you look at it, they have a 24-ounce canister, which is almost similar to a fire extinguisher. So I should note that these are not a replacement for a standard fire extinguisher. You should still have the fire extinguisher there. These are just a little bit more portable and something that you can have just in time to help you, because we all know in the event of a fire, time is of the essence. So the quicker you can get on that, the quicker you can extinguish it. So they got a 24-ounce bottle. Actually, I have one right behind me. You can probably see it. That's just this there just in time. So to take out hot spots. But then they also have a backpack offering. So it's basically a big backpack you put on your back that's pressurized, and it has a lot more capacity from that perspective. But then they also have a mountable option that you can put on a piece of mobile equipment. So if you're out there in the field, you're out there in the shop, things like that, and you need a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more firefighting capacity from that perspective, they have that offering as well. So we try to get a good spectrum of prevention measures for folks and meet them where they are.
You mentioned this partnership's about 6 months old, but you've already seen it work on the farm. It's been an effective tool already.
Yeah, no doubt. We've had some saves out there across the country already, looking to broaden that even further. We unfortunately see this time of year, both in the planting and the harvest season, that this is probably the most dangerous time out there, the most active time from a fire standpoint. And what we're seeing is a lot of these occurrences are happening where there's hot spots. Folks are just finishing up, or they're getting back in the shop, or they're starting that equipment up for the first time. We're seeing some electrical fires that are happening, whether they're in the shop or whether they're out in the field, things like that. And so we just want to make people aware that, hey, as you look at this, as you go into this season, you start looking at your exposure, know that we have the thermal cameras that are available to see where those hot spots are. And then we also have the fire prevention mechanism and this cooling agent. I call this Enforcer One product more of a cooling agent as well, because it's environmentally friendly, it's fluorine free, it's PFAS free. So it's not a bad thing to be spraying if you're out there in the field and things like that, just to cool it off. You notice these hot spots and you're able to move on to the next day. So it's just another piece of that puzzle to help prevent some of these fires.
I mentioned this is in addition to many other products you offer through Nationwide at a discount to your policyholders. I mentioned the portfolio of fire prevention tools. Talk about some of the other things that your members have access to should they want it.
Yeah, no doubt. In addition to this partnership, obviously we have our PrevTech, which is the electrical monitoring system that a lot of folks are using out there on the farm, being able to see where those blips are in the electrical system. We've got our HayTech product that gets into the probing of the hay bales and things like that. And then, of course, we look at any firefighting mechanism that they have as well. So making sure that you have the right extinguishing equipment out there, making sure you're doing the thorough walkthroughs of the facility. And just after you're done, taking the time. Well, we were just out with a client last week, and he said he blows off his equipment 4 to 5 times a day during the busy season. So just taking that time to do the regular maintenance, clean these pieces of equipment up, because unfortunately that's what's a lot of times starting these fires. It's the dust, it's the accumulation, the debris, the hot spots. So we're trying to get that educational piece, the awareness piece, and then also the protection piece on the back.
You can find out more about Enforcer One's products on their website, enforcer1.com. Laramie, if they wanted to learn more about the partnership and how they can get a hold of these products on their farm, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, no doubt. Go out and talk to your Nationwide Farm certified agent out there. That's your first stop. Obviously, any of your risk management consultants are from our division that would be out there working with you. They're a good resource as well. As you said, enforcer1.com, but also nationwide.com is another great place to go. It's all out there and available.
Laramie Sandquist, risk management leader for Nationwide Agribusiness, our guest on the podcast. Always great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Ty.
Who feeds your need for new ideas for your family's best farm future? Ohio Farm Bureau. We work with our members to shape ag policy that will positively impact our industry. Farm Bureau is advancing business solutions to give you a competitive advantage. We help you gather information to stay ahead of important topics and technologies. Plus, Ohio Farm Bureau creates opportunities for growth. Ohio Farm Bureau, feeding your need for new ideas.
Find out how Nationwide Agribusiness can help you grow your business. Get to know the people with the experience and knowledge to help you. Whether you are looking to protect your farm or ranch from the ground up, or need someone who understands your changing commercial ag needs. Find out how to better manage the risks of your ag business, or how quickly you can get back to business. Learn how you can protect your next with Nationwide on your side.
Welcome back to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins. Slips, trips, and falls make up the majority of all general industry accidents across the U.S. Falls are almost always preventable, and adequately preparing for the task ahead helps to ensure that tasks and activities are completed safely. That is especially important this time of year as farmers are out in the field and planting season is well underway. Eric White joins us. He's a safety consultant with the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So when you talk about on the farm, what are some of the common fall hazards we see there?
Well, to name a few, you've got, for example, silos and tanks, especially after planting season and harvest season, farmers getting up on their silos and their silage bins. You've got pits, ponds, and lagoons, lots of different openings, whether they're outside or inside our structures. Of course, slips, trips, and falls, like you just mentioned. A lot of the slips, trips, and falls on the same level can be attributed to housekeeping. So housekeeping is always a big thing. Equipment and trucks, trailers. So we know as farmers, you guys are up and down on equipment, tractors, trailers, trucks, you name it. So believe it or not, a lot of falls happen getting in and off that equipment. Ladders, I think everybody knows how to work off a ladder, but sometimes we need to be reminded on how to properly work off of ladders. So we do a lot of bad behaviors on ladders. And then, of course, roofs, lofts, maybe doing repair work, working out of lifts. So those are probably the biggest ones that I can identify as hazards when we're on the farm.
Many of these things happen because of complacency. We do it day in and day out, and it kind of becomes habit, and we don't think about the safety aspect of it. Besides making it top of mind every single day, what are some improvements people can make to help prevent or lower the risk of falls?
Well, I think first and foremost is just a little bit of training. As most of the folks on our farms are family members, or we might have some hired hands, but just doing some very simple training so that your folks can recognize what the hazards are. One of the biggest things that I do that I try to express to employers when I'm, mostly I'm out on construction sites and industrial settings, but I always try to make it very clear to them to, as an employer, don't assume that your employees know the hazards, especially young workers. Young workers, like many of us were starting out, I can remember a lot of things that I got myself in trouble, could have potentially got myself in trouble for because I just didn't know any better. So doing a little bit of training, new and young workers, And like you mentioned, complacency. Believe it or not, in industrial settings and construction, the largest number of folks that get injured are workers between 45 and 65. So it's not just young workers, but it's also the older workers as well. But training, covers, I mentioned holes. So if we can identify those areas where we have openings, if we can just simply cover those with a suitable cover and identify them so that we know that that's covering up something, fences, barricades, simple guardrails, where it makes sense. If we can put guardrails in our areas where we have elevated structures, if we can put guardrails on those when that makes sense, handrails on our stairs, making sure our stairs are in good shape. Our ladders, how many times do we go out and we have bad ladders? Simple, PPE. I mentioned earlier about lifts. Many of the farmers have lifts out there, like boom lifts, by simply just, buying a harness and a lanyard, because that's the biggest thing when you're in those lifts, is getting thrown out of those lifts. So those are the few things that I would say that are very simple and can make a huge difference on the farm.
I know BWC has a ton of resources for safety. What resources do you have for fall preventions?
So our easiest thing is we have lots of training. So we offer training both in person, where we can come out to you and do training. We offer training where you come to our locations throughout the state. We have many training resources and locations throughout that state. We also offer a lot of webinars, online training. The online training is simply, you just go to our website and you just pick something that's of interest to you and you do that training at your own pace. The webinars are a live training. You have an actual trainer there, but you're just doing it from the comfort of home or wherever behind your laptop. And then, of course, the in-person training.
Eric White, safety consultant with the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. If people want to find those resources, what's the best way to do that?
Just simply bwc.ohio.gov, or you can call our 800 number, 1-800-644-6292. And those will both get you to where you need to be, and you can request consultation, training, or whatever it is that we can do to help you out.
Thank you, Eric. Great to see you.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.